Hello and good morning. My name is Coach Will Walker, and it is a amazing Sunday morning here in Puerto Vallarta at my home. I am online today with the amazing, incomparable woman herself, Miss Alana Sanders. This series is what I'm going to call Conversations with Important People. And they are people that represent the community. They are the decision makers in the community. They are the people that keep Georgia moving forward in the right direction. Today, I'm having a great conversation with my friend and amazing associate, County Commissioner Alana Sanders.
Hello, how
Good
are
morning,
you
Alana.
in Mexico? I'm so jealous.
Oh, girl, don't be jealous, honey. It is a flight away, and I know that you are there doing the Lord's work. So, therefore, it is hard for you to escape, I am sure. But just in case anyone does not know who Elena is the county commissioner of Newton County. She's a public servant, an amazing educator, a presenter, a public speaker, an international fitness professional. She is a singer, and of course, she would agree that her most accomplished position is being a mother to a amazing daughter who is a scholar. I know this girl personally. Shout out to McKinley. And thank you so much for taking time out to speak with me today, Commissioner Sanders.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here and honored. I'm happy and I'm glad to see you. Although I haven't seen you in years, I get to see you on the screen, but I'm so happy to be here. I thank you so much.
Well, absolutely. Well, I'm not going to hold you long today, but I did want to just have a brief conversation with you and do a quick catch up about Newton County, what's going on in the state, what's going on in the city, what's going on in your county, and just kind of give us a little bit of insight of what we can expect maybe coming or what is going on. Now, tell me, can we start with just what jurisdiction do you represent right now?
Yes, I represent Newton County, Georgia. Newton County is part of the Atlanta metro area, off the 20 going east. So if you're in Atlanta, you're going east of 20, keep going straight down 20, you will run into Newton County. One of the main cities in Newton County, which is also the county seat, is Covington, Georgia. If you've seen a lot of movies on TV, your P Valley and everything else, and all those movies, those were shot in Newton County. Many movies we've had, Vampire Diaries, all of those were shot in Newton County. Newton County is the Hollywood of the South. Many of your film industry is in Newton County. We have a lot of studios. Even Tyler Perry's about to build, or he's currently building another studio out in Newton County. So we are the place that they go to make the movies. So we have a lot of people that are moving to that area because of the film industry.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing, Elena. I know that Georgia has been a hub for some time because it's kind of my stomping ground too, or it has been for some time. And it has just been the hub of entertainment. And it is the Black Mecca for success. It is what, all of the United States looks up to. And I am so amazed and so glad that you are sitting in the seat that you're sitting, representing that jurisdiction, because from what I've seen and what I've heard and everything is just like you are there to make a difference for real. And for anyone that doesn't understand the word public servant, like it is the epitome of it because of your background, because of where you come from. I just believe that that seat was really made for you.
I thank you so much for that, and I'm happy that I was allowed to be able to sit in this seat. We made history in Newton County the year that I ran, and we had more people that came out to vote. It was just an exciting time, and like I told some people, if you'd have asked me about 7, 8 years ago, was I going to be in politics? And you probably know this, I would have said no. That was not my plight in life. That was not my plan. But we all know when we make plans, they don't go the way that we want them. They go the way that he designs them. And so I am excited to sit in this seat to make a difference, to make a change. And although some may not be excited, some may be excited, but it's not the point of the person that you decided to be in the seat. Is the person doing the job. That's the main
Mhm.
thing. Are they doing the job for the people? Are they making a difference in the community as far as for our seniors, our youth, and those who accomplish the property owners who's paying the taxes? Are they doing what they said they're going to do when they gave you that huge campaign speech in the beginning that spiel for you to vote for them. Are they actually doing the job? And I do believe I'm doing that, and I receive that a lot from my constituents, that I am doing the job, and that's my main goal. When I get into something, I put my all into it. Sometimes I put too much into it to where it encompasses every part of my life, but I want to make sure that I'm doing the best job, and that's all that matters.
Absolutely. And I really, really believe you are. Now, staying in the vein of that, you have been doing this job amazingly for 2 years and you've been in this seat for a while. Tell us what's new for coming for Newton County.
Well, right now in Newton County, we have a lot of industry that's definitely coming into the county for right now. We currently have Facebook, we have Takeda, we have a lot of things that are happening. Of course, Newton County is booming with our housing development, especially my district. My district is probably the district that has the most development and the most dense. We have a lot of that. People are coming because houses are, it's not affordable because of inflation. It's affordable versus living in Atlanta, and you used to live in Atlanta. So you know the cost of living in Atlanta itself versus living in Atlanta metro. So you have a lot of people who've had the opportunity to purchase homes because they were affordable to them at the moment. It's also great for those who are actually selling their homes at this particular time. The market is booming for that. In my district alone, one of the main things we're doing, when I first came into office and before I came into office, when I was campaigning, one of the things that my neighbors, and you will hear me say neighbors because I don't like the word constituent, because I live in the community. The difference between being a county commissioner versus a state rep or somebody who's congressional is that we actually live in a neighborhood. We go to the same grocery store, we go to the same Family Dollar, Dollar
Mhm.
General. I will see my constituent in that store. If I'm walking out of my house, I would see the person who possibly voted for me. My constituent would be out there. My neighbor would be there. So that's why I say my neighbor, because I live in the community, and whatever happens in this community, I feel it too. I'm not making decisions from a seat to where I live in another county and I represent this county and I don't know what the people feel like or how it feels to be embarked on or something coming to community and you don't want that. I actually feel it because I live here. And so that is one of the things I would say is so amazing. So just to break that down. So as a local official, I actually work as a commissioner who manages your property taxes. A lot of people are not familiar what a commissioner does. When I was campaigning, I go back to when I was campaigning because I felt like I was educating, because I am a teacher. I was educating a lot of people on what a county commissioner does. And when I asked them that question, they had no idea. They was like,
Mhm.
and even if I ask people to this day, some that I'm actually talking to, they're like, what do you do? We know of the title, but what do you actually do? When you pay your property taxes in your county, that goes into a budget to where your county commissioners actually manages that budget and decide on where it's going to be spent in the community. That is a big piece because everybody know property taxes can be a lot, especially right now with inflation. Your house has gone, the value of your home has gone up, and you've seen your mortgages change because of inflation, and the property values of your home have changed. And so you come to your county commissioner trying to figure out, why has my property tax increased? When you want new industry or economic development in your community, that's your county commissioner. That new store that just came on the block, that new gas station or so forth, or something that came in that area, your county commissioner sat down also with their appointments on the planning and zoning commission and said, hey, we want these various things in our community. So it's important that you stay in tune with your elected officials that are locally, because they are planning your livelihood, even from the Board of Education, which is from the school system, but as a county commissioner, we're countywide. So we have cities up under us that we are actually making decisions in regards to what happens in the county.
And that is so much important information for people to understand, that it's just not about the president.
It
It's
is
not
not.
about the senators. It's not about the governors. It's about every elected office that's below it, because those small offices make the decisions about your day-to-day movement. And that
Exactly.
is so important. And it's very important as we vote, as the election is just around the corner, because it's always just around the
It's
corner,
always
contrary to
around
what
the
anyone
corner.
thinks. It is always just around the corner. We have to vote for people with integrity that are going to hold up the mantle and just be honest, and do what's right for the community.
That's
Now,
the key word you just said. The key word you just said. Just be honest.
I have to interject that because that is not a running theme in politics. It's not a running theme because people are looking out for the vested interests of the people who invested in them more so than the people who
Mm.
are depending on them
Oh
and
wow, you
looking
said a
to them
word.
for the leadership. So we have to be mindful of those things. Speaking of that, I was taking a peruse of your page
Okay.
on yesterday when we were deciding to finalize the interview. And you were having some concerns about a project that was coming to your district. And I saw a few people kind of randomly chiming in. If you don't mind, would you tell us about that a little bit more?
Yes, here in well, in various counties in Georgia, we have something called a splosh. It's your sales tax. Basically, it's the special purpose sales tax to where the community decides on if they want to increase their sales tax for projects in their community. It could be parks and rec. It could be to fix roads and various things. It could be for public safety, fire, your law enforcement to get more cars or whatever they need. And so the residents will vote on this, which they will vote for the 2023 splosh on November 8th. That's coming up. And so in 2017, the residents voted in my community, well, in Newton County alone, for a West Side youth facility. Now, the west side of Newton it does include four districts, but that was just a name, I mean, three districts, excuse me, but that was a name that commissioner or whomever put that in place for that project. Now, let me go a little bit further. The commissioners during that time all decided to give each other for not give each other decided to vote on that each district would have $495,000 to spend in their district on a project of their choosing, and that project was placed on the referendum for the community to vote for. So the project that was placed on the referendum for District 3 was a West Side Youth Facility. And breaking that down, my district has the most population. Of course, now that we've done the census and we did redistricting, it had to become even out. But District 3 was the only district that grew in the thousands because of the house density and people coming into the area. And my district is close to the interstate to get to Atlanta.
Mhm.
So a youth facility was perfect. It's definitely what was needed. And that commissioner that came in before me, that was definitely a good project that was needed. So the residents assumed they were voting for a youth facility that's going in their district. Unfortunately, there's been some issues to where that I'm assuming, well, not assuming, the previous commissioner actually was on the board of the Boys and Girls Club. And so her thought process was, since the Boys and Girls Club is in District 2, it's in District 2, not even District 3, we give that funding to them to build a facility and they manage it. Unfortunately, that's not what the citizens voted for. That's not what the residents voted for. And in regards to the law, you have to do what they voted for. You cannot go in and change it. Now, can a nonprofit manage a building? Yes, they do it every day, all day in the government, but that's not what the residents voted for. They were looking for a facility to come into their district so they can actually manage it and know what's happening in their community. And so that's what I've been pushing for based on the law. And I've been conversing with our previous county manager and our project manager to move forward with a West Side youth facility that's pegged for District 3. The previous commissioner was trying to partner with the school board to swap out some land, but unfortunately it did not work, and that land was in District 3. So we were moving forward. We found some land to move forward. The commissioners told our attorney to go ahead and put in an offer for this land. Of course, you know what offers, you have counter offers and all that and so forth. So I'm going to put this out there. I did an open records because there was a my colleague who said I want to do a site analysis so we can decide on where this is going to be. So I did an open records. There's never in the history of Newton County has there ever been a site analysis for a project that's going in a commissioner's district. So if the project is going in that commissioner's district, that commissioner works with that project manager to decide, or the people who live there to say, hey, we want it there. No other commissioner embarks on that commissioner's project or what's happening. So our county clerk said that has never happened in the history of Newton County. We currently have a project that's in place right now that's about to build a park and community center in another district. We never had a site analysis. It only happened for my district. So that was why I questioned. I said, why are we only doing a site analysis for this district when in years you never embark on a commissioner's project? Why is there a difference? I voted for projects to go in your community. You did what you had to do. I voted for projects to go to your community. You did what you had to do. So why is District 3 so special? Why are we doing various things differently? So our project manager before gave me 4 properties to look at. And so, and our county manager, our interim county manager, was a part of that. So I'm assuming the commissioner or a commissioner was concerned about why they were not aware. So I forwarded over to them. So on Tuesday night, they decided to have a workshop site analysis for the project going in my district. Now, mind you, I'm thinking that we're moving forward with the sites that were submitted to me for my district. When we get to the meeting, there are more sites that are in other districts to move a project that's supposed to be in my district to propose to go in other districts. Now, why this is so dear to me is because I took the opportunity. Splash dollars was $495,000. With that, there's excess money that came in. I was also granted 3.77 million, which gave you about $4.1 million. Okay. So I knew that was not going to be enough to purchase land. As we know, the land right now, Will, you know, you've been in the real estate industry, you know that was not enough
Yes.
to build and to buy land.
No.
So that was my concern. I did not want to tax the taxpayers. So our congressman, which all the commissioners received this email, had a grant, congressional dollars, and said if you have projects coming in your community, apply for the grant. So that's what Commissioner Sanders did for her community. I applied for a grant for $4 million, and which
Hmm.
I received. So that gives me $8.1 million to build for this project. Okay. And so now we have enough money to purchase land, and now we have enough money to do phase 1 of the building to put in a building for our youth. I visited all the high schools in the area. In the area, I visited the middle schools, and I actually did a focus group with the students to tell me what they wanted to see in a building that they were going to occupy. Not me. What y'all want? Because the worst thing, Will, sometimes is we as adults, we plan for our youth, and that's not what they want. We know that when we grew up, Generation X's, there were certain things that were important to us. And we know this new generation, this social media day and age generation, they don't care about nothing that we want. It's completely different. So it's better to go to them and hear exactly what they wanted. And I also had a town hall with those in my district and the parents with the youth to tell me what they wanted. So I'm thinking we're moving forward. The neighbors in my area are excited. The students are excited. We're moving forward. And I'm still questioning, why are we having a site analysis for a project going in my district when we never did it from any other district? We've had a skate park that was pegged for an area. We didn't do a site analysis that we would need this skate park in somewhere else. We've had a park and a community center is being built right now. We didn't do a site analysis say, hey, we need this to be somewhere else. That's that commissioner's district. That's what that commissioner wanted, and they moved forward. And so that was where the whole issue was, because on Tuesday night, it was like an okey doke. It was an okey doke. So where they was like, oh, this is the west side of Newton, so we could put it anywhere. I said, so after I applied for a $4 million grant, now you're trying to move the project somewhere else after I did the work for my community? So you want me to lose the grant because the grant was based on the
Your
district
community and those
and
stats.
and the statistics. So if
Yeah.
you move it, we lose $4 million. And why are you moving it when I had evidence to show it's supposed to be in my district? And that was the money that was given to that commissioner who was in office before I came in office. And she didn't utilize the funding. And so another commissioner told me about the funding and said you need to go utilize that for your community and move forward with your projects based on what the splash law is. And that's what I was doing. My neighbors wanted a facility for the youth because my area has a lot of crime dealing with, we don't have nothing to do for our youth. So we're trying
Mhm.
to find something to deter the crime for my area.
So all of that being said, because that is such a, I won't comment on what it is because I know exactly what it is, just
I
like you
want you
know
to say
exactly what
it.
it is.
We're keeping it real. I want you to say whatever comes to
Uh,
your mind.
well,
And
the
you've
thing
been in
is,
politics. on the back
Yeah.
end working with many political figures, from governors to whatever. So you know this role. You know it.
Well, I'll say this, and this is my determination. This is not your determination. This is my determination. My determination is this: it's just blatant racism, and it's blatant sexism on top of the racism, and it's a hierarchy grab, is what I call it. Um, how dare a Black woman come into this community, take over a seat that didn't belong to her, and create something bigger and better than what we created and outdo us.
Oh
So
wow.
we're going to show her who's the boss. This is the nature of politics now. That's why it is
Mm.
very important for people like you to set the tone for what is expected after an attack. And I am constantly saying this to not only clients, but only, because I'm a certified performance coach and I do coaching for high level individuals. The attack has to be met. And there are certain people that are equipped for that attack. And you are equipped for that attack. You will set the standard for how these things are dealt with going forward.
Wow.
So you are dealing with it, in my opinion, in the best way possible, not overreacting or being overly confrontational with them, but stating the facts, moving legally, efficiently, and forward. And I think that, especially women of color, when you get into a seat of power, they're expecting to use the art of provocation to say, look, she couldn't handle it. Look at her. But it's more intimidating to see a woman compose herself and say, well, let's just call the attorney. Let's just call the land. Let's just pull up the law. Let's just open the book and see what happened. Let's pull up the track
You've been
record.
watching our
Let me
meetings,
just.
Will.
No, well, here's the thing. I know that I know the culture of this level of business,
Yeah.
and I have had to survive in that culture as a Black man. And I understand that it's even more so strenuous and stressful for a woman to take on a seat from someone who was not as ambitious before you. So let's just be honest about that, because I have read up on the previous commissioner and I was not impressed. Um, Someone who was not as ambitious before you. And then you have a woman of color who actually lives in the community, is concerned about the community, and is engaging the community in a way that is not a dictatorship. Asking something that you said was so important, asking the kids what they want. For us, we went outside and played. We rode bicycles in our age group. We had a good time, and we might have had one community center with basketball and football and volleyball and whatever. These kids need a different level of engagement. And it was so important for you to go out and say, what do you need? I'm here for you. I work for you. What do you want? And no other council. I believe that people in political positions now, from what I see, are making decisions on what they feel instead of making the decisions on what was voted for by the people that voted them in. They feel like it's their duty to do what they feel is right. It's not your duty to do what you feel is right. You have to do what the county says, no matter how you feel. Your feelings are unimportant. That's why they call it a public servant. But that's a
Hmm.
whole nother situation,
Okay,
and
Coach
that's
Will. I
fine.
feel like I'm in therapy for. I feel like this is a therapy session versus an interview. Okay,
Yeah.
it's interesting you said that, and let me put the disclaimer in here. This interview, because I know people when they see certain things, and you don't know my political background, you don't know you read up on the previous commissioner. So this interview is not about bashing the previous commissioner. You know, people would take your words and misconstrue it and say she got on an interview talking about the previous commissioner. No, this is your thoughts and your feelings on what you saw, based on what you read. So I want to make sure I put that out there. But it's interesting that you said your feelings, and I said this on many occasions. I said it's irrelevant on how you feel about me. It's irrelevant on how you think about me. But are we doing our job as commissioners? Are we doing what's for the people? Yes, I'm not gonna back down. I'm not a pushover. But the main thing is, are we doing what's right for the community? What you think of me doesn't even matter. but is that person doing their job? And I said this, I said, there's been many times you worked on jobs where you could not stand your boss. You could not stand a colleague, a person you're working with. You just despise them, but you guys had to come together and for that common goal to make sure the job is done. And that's the whole point. Are we coming together for a common goal to make sure the job is done for the people? That is the only ending goal and the only result that should happen at this point.
Exactly. And for the most part, political positions are like being an interior decorator. You're going into someone else's house, taking their ideas, and you're going out purchasing things that fit their personality.
Mm.
You're the interior decorator for Newton County.
Oh, wow.
And they
That's a
don't
good
get that.
analogy.
They don't
Wow.
get that. It's like, I'm not here to tell you what I feel. My daughter is in college. I don't know what kids that are 10 years younger than her need. Has that changed? And if it has changed, tell me what it is. Because it is not your job to determine what they need. It's your job to provide it. And this is
Mm.
what politicians are getting it all wrong at. And then I will enter this caveat, and I definitely want to move to another question that was kind of luring over my head as we were talking. Um, Let me put this random thought out here. Anyone that was, I don't know whether I want to say it that way. Anyone that was alive during the Jim Crow era should not be in office. So let's just skip that right there. If segregation was legalized in your time in office, you shouldn't be there.
Mm.
Politics is a young person's game because politics has to stay current.
I get what you're saying. So you're saying we're moving in a different direction versus what it was in the past.
Exactly.
And
You
and
can't
and
take someone's old ideas and
mm,
reform them while you reform the people they're supposed to represent,
that is
because their
very
ideas don't change while they reform.
that is very interesting because as we look at this political arena now, it has become younger. Even when we had consultants that came to our county to tell us about our makeup, and one of the things they said was Newton County is getting younger. Newton
Mm-hmm.
County is getting younger. And we have to cater to that younger generation. Are we going to lose them to other cities or other states? And we definitely don't want that to happen. So I get that point to where you're saying, because if you look at, like I said, look at this political world, look at our current activists now. They're younger. Look at the people who are really getting into politics now. And then if you look at the campaigns such as Stacey Abrams and the people she has running with her, those are the Generation Xers and Ys, and they are a force to be reckoned with. And I'm seeing more of them come to the forefront and speaking out about political issues and also running for offices. There was a commissioner that was in Athens, Clark County, who just recently stepped down. And I was reading her article, African American woman, and she said that she stepped down because she could not the old, like you said, the old ways and people not changing. And she said she had a voice that was bigger than the seat that she was sitting in. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
paraphrasing some of the words that she said. Of course, it's not verbatim, but just reading her article is that you're getting these younger individuals coming into politics, and they cannot take the old ways because people are not changing because they're set in their ways, and there has to be some room for change. And I agree with you to that point, to where if you don't have a mind to change for the better and what's coming, then there is going to be a problem. There's always going to be discrepancies. There's always going to be issues because your mind is set in one place.
Absolutely. And when you have people with strong opinions, you have people that, because being in the political side and being on the back end of the machine, what I've seen the most is you have two kinds of people.
Mm-hmm.
You have the ones that come in and are grassroots engaged, like yourself. How can I solve the problem? How can I fix it?
Right.
If it's a problem, tell me where it's at. Show it to me. Let's put a plan together and make it activate. And then you have the strong voices that come in and attack off the top. You have people like AOC. You
Mm-hmm.
have these thought leaders that are coming, people like AOC, who came from being a waitress. She's like, I know what it's like to be broke and stand on my feet all day. So I'm not going to let you treat a woman that way, because I was waiting that table, just like
I was
she's
that
waiting
woman.
that
Yes.
table. I've been that woman.
Yes.
And we have to invest in the youth in politics because they are current on what's needed.
Hmm.
We will eventually outage. No one over 55 should be in politics because that means you are more than two generations out of this current movement.
Mm.
If you got great grandkids, you should not be in office. You are too far removed. These are people that can't do FaceTime calls. And they got to get monitors to read off of because they can't keep up with what's going on. We have to have conscious people that are focused. And in that same vein, I really would love for you to discuss why it's important for local residents to get involved in this process from your view.
I am so glad that you asked me this question because I'm saying this all the time, even with being in my neighborhood, and I've expressed to some of my neighbors that I actually physically live in the subdivision how important it is to be involved. I live in a subdivision that probably has 900 and no 922 units of people. That's probably like 4,000 people. That's a city by itself. That's a small little rural city by itself. And the amount of people that they say in this subdivision votes is really disheartening. It was like less than 300 in this one area, to where when I came in office, a lot of political strategists told me don't waste my time, and they didn't know I lived in this area. It was like, don't waste your time in this area because they don't vote, they don't come out, they don't do nothing. And I actually told my neighbors this when I was campaigning. I said they wrote you off, they've written you off because they said you don't vote, you don't do anything. So a lot of the political strategists, campaign managers, and politicians do not spend their dollars in this community or even put anything in this community because they feel that you're not going to be, you're not worth it. Just go ahead and put it out there. You're not worth it. And so I expressed to them the importance of being involved in politics because some of the things that you asked me to do is what you need to be knowing what's happening in the community anyway. When you say we need, why my roads are not paved? What's happened with my roads? Okay, well, if you came to the meeting or if you were involved, you would know that we have a grading scale based on roads, and those who have the worst grading scale get graded first. Or you saying, why is this gas station on the corner? Well, if you would have known, came to the meeting, you would have heard some of the gas station go through the planning commission individuals, and they actually voted. It was approved through coding. The application process went through. Or if you were against it, you could have shown up at the meeting and
Mhm.
expressed why you did not want that gas station or whatever it may be in your community. But you can't complain after development has started, it's up, and people are pumping gas.
Mhm.
and the lights are on and saying we are open. That is too late. We need to hear from you in the beginning because if based on I've learned being in this position, if they don't hear from the community, they think the community is okay with it. I've learned based on tradition, and I'm like, I need a book of these traditions because people do unwritten rules, things that are not written. They say this is tradition. So where is this written? So based on tradition, from what I've been told, if they don't hear from you, they mean this is okay. You
Mhm.
want it. You want it to happen. The only time they think it's not something you don't want is when they hear your voice. You're writing a letter, you're complaining, you're calling your elected official, and you're telling them and you're expressing why you don't want it in the area. So you have to be involved. Things that can affect your kids. As I told them about the facility that's coming to the community. If you have children, you need to be involved. If you're tired of the crime and things that are happening, you need to be involved so you can say, hey, we have this crime in our area. What are we doing to provide for our kids for something for them to do? We have all these homes and no parks and recreation. Okay, complaining to me is great. Yes, it is. But guess what? We just had a youth facility on the agenda. Where were you?
Mhm.
Where were you when your official needed you? Because your elected official is put in place to represent you, but your official is only as strong as their supporters. So when you come in, yeah, I'm fighting for you because this is what you want. But the other individuals that don't live in your community, I wouldn't say they don't care less. It's out of sight, out of mind. So if it's not around them, it's not of importance to them. So if you're not out there saying, this is what I want, this is what I need in my community, I need to have it, and you're not showing up, then guess what? They're like, well, the community don't care because they're not showing up and tell us what they want. So we don't care either. And I wouldn't say they don't care. It's just not of importance to them because it's not in their area. Out of sight, out of mind.
And you know what? I would venture I would venture to say that they are depending on you to be absent. And to everyone that doesn't get this, I just, not only are they depending on you to be absent, they are depending on you to allow them to keep control, because historically in certain communities, control has just been given
Mm,
because we didn't know that one vote could change something.
it sure can.
30 people on one street can change the whole trajectory of a neighborhood,
It sure
you
can.
know. And one thing, and you are a media icon, and this is one thing I know that we both agree on: applying what I call digital pressure. There used to be a time where it went in the newspaper and somebody might have saw it, somebody might have cut up and ended up on the Channel 6 News, and it may have become a thing. But we are in an era now where discussing and releasing your thoughts and releasing that moment as it's happening applies pressure to create momentum.
Hmm.
And we are so quiet because we don't want to move the water and we don't want to be involved, that we allow everything to change around us. And the next thing we know, we don't recognize our neighborhoods.
Hmm. Or we don't want people to know that we are involved because
Exactly.
of who it may be. When you're dealing with your community, your life, and your livelihood, you want people to know that you're involved. Or we don't
Mm-hmm.
want people to know we support this specific individual. Look at here. This is your community. This is where you
Mm-hmm.
live. You put people in place to represent you. If there's something that you want, you have to vocalize it. If there's something that you don't want, you have to vocalize it, no matter what people may think. And I'm gonna go to this point, and it's kind of going there. I have passion for things. I when I like I said, when I get into something, I'm all in. So I'm very passionate. But sometimes people think passion is being angry, and that is not what it is. And then there's this, I don't know where this came from. I don't know who started it. I don't know. I might need to call Tyler Perry to get rid of that movie. They always say the angry black woman. And I remember in one of her her scenes, she said, I'm not angry. I may be mad, but I'm not angry. I may be disappointed. I might be disheartened. And sometimes I'm not disappointed. I'm passionate, and I might be disheartened that you don't care about a community like I care about it, or you don't care about something. But because I express myself and I have a voice that is strong, that does not mean that I'm angry. That does not mean that I'm the angry black female. It's because
Mm-hmm.
I'm passionate and I'm speaking for a community because they gave me a job to do, and this is my job. So I'm going to do my job effectively, and I'm going to express how I feel about this project, and I'm going to tell you what my constituents feel. And I'm going to always come with the facts. One thing about me, I'm going, like you said, I'm going to come with the facts and the law. I can back
Mm-hmm.
up everything I say. Everything I say. If I got to pull out an email, no, you said this. You get up there, you say certain things. I didn't say, yeah, you said it at 5:45, 15 p.m., whatever. You said it
Mm-hmm.
on Tuesday, October 25th. Yes, you did. You said it. Then that's the part when you said being honest. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we don't want people to know that we are supportive of various things because it may affect you here or there. No, we are in a position. We are in a position to speak up, demand, I would say demand, speak up and being firm and making decisions,
Mm-hmm.
not being not straddling a fence because we think it's going to affect this person on this side or it's going to affect this person on this side. We're in a position to make concrete decisions, and you have to stick by it.
And if it affects them, then what? I'm sorry, right? Doing the right thing is going to affect somebody.
It's going to affect somebody. Somebody's
Yeah.
not going to be happy. It is
And
what it is.
that's just how it is. And let's just go ahead and go into it, because the reality is you're the only woman on a board of how many men?
If we're including our interim county manager, our chairman, and our county attorney, that's 7 men.
And you're the only woman.
I am the only female.
Not only does that speak to the idea of how they feel about women in power, but it speaks to the idea of how you are heard. So I really would love for women who are, because we're talking about local government, getting involved in the government, getting involved in what's going on politically. Women are the new voice. Women are the new voice because the men, I'm sorry guys, you've had plenty of time to do it. You haven't done it right. So we're gonna give it to the women, which is where it should have been in the beginning, and we're gonna let the women do it. Can you discuss with women who are wanting to really get into politics, who really want to make change? What are the challenges that they're really going to face? Because those are things that people need to hear, not the fluffy stuff.
Okay. We are in a that well, politics has been a dominant male position, a dominant
Mm-hmm.
male job. So women are coming by force over, as you stated, in the past couple of years. Women have gone into politics, getting in position. There's actually programs out there to get women into politics. And so we're going to face some issues. We're going to face where if we're talking about something, you're going to have a man saying you're playing the victim. And you're
Mm-hmm.
going to have, you're playing the victim, but no, I'm telling the truth. You're going to get to the point where, oh, she's always fussing, but you were just fussing about something the other day, so that's not playing the victim. And I'm confused. So what's the difference? Is it because I'm female and I'm saying it, so I'm a victim? You're going to get those various things to where you are going to be told you're something that you're not because you speak out and you don't follow agendas. It is what it is. It's going to happen. And so I will definitely say being in politics, it is not for the faint heart. It is not for the person who's going to sit back, and nothing's wrong with shedding a tear behind the closed door. But it is
Mm-hmm.
not for the person who's going to break down and just go into their own shell. Because if you do that, you're not representing the people that put you in place. You've
Mm-hmm.
already let them win. You've already let them win. And so you have to be up on your game, is what I say. You have to know the law and
Mm-hmm.
study it. Also have people in your corner that knows the law better than you, of course, because I'm not an attorney, but I love studying the law, and I do have a background of it and what I used to do. But you have to have people in your corner who's been in this position for so long that you can go to and say, "Hey, what happened when you did this? What is the suggestion for this? And how you think I should do this?" You're gonna also have to have people in your corner that's not gonna be your yes person. Somebody's gonna
Mm-hmm.
tell you, you know, you shouldn't have did that, right? This is how you should have done it. And so you have to have that support system that's going to keep you grounded, because if you don't, it's going to consume you, and it's going to be a part of your life to where you're going to wind up coming out of office looking like Bill Clinton and Obama. And you're gonna have the gray hair. I saw the other day I had like 2 or 3 gray hairs. I said, "Oh my God, I don't want to come out of office like that," because you are, when you're passionate, and I don't want to say it's a female thing. It could be anybody, and we are nurturers by nature.
Mm-hmm.
We are nurturers, so we kind of care a little bit more about the children. And I'm not saying men don't. I'm not saying that. It's just that our makeup of how we were built to be mothers, we care about, oh my God, if this homeless person is laying on the street, what can we do? We want to instantly find something for them to make the situation better. Or if
Mm-hmm.
we see children that don't have the equipment in the playground and they're swinging on stuff that's broken, we're gonna be like, we got to make this work. So that's a difference, I would say, because of our nature of being nurturers and being mother figures. We care about those situations to where we're passionate. We're not angry. We're not victims. We care. And so we want to see those things change because we feel like we're placed in a position that's so important. For me, I consider like I said, my neighbors, but being an elected official, I wouldn't say these are my children, no, because we're all adults, but this is my family. So I
Mm-hmm.
look at this is my huge family that I have acquired from being a commissioner. So I don't want to let my family down. I want to make sure my family is receiving what they need. I want to make sure that my family has everything that every community has in this county or outside this county, and make sure the children have what they need. So it's really important. So as a female in this position, I do suggest that you do align yourself with some powerful elected officials, whether it may be men and I think it should be both men and women, who's going to give you the male version of how this goes, and women who's going to give you the female version of how this goes. So it can
Mhm.
help you with the balance part. And that's what I have done. I've asked those questions to those higher up elected officials and those who have done this before me to say, hey, why does this happen? And they tell me, they give it to me raw. They've given it to me raw, and that's what I want. I want them to give me the real deal. And like you said, not the fluff. So,
Mhm.
as a woman in this position, I do suggest you study it to make sure this is something for you and something that you really want to do, because it is going to be a consuming piece of your life, to where on the local level, people don't really understand it's 10 o'clock at night.
Mhm.
And you're calling me at 10 o'clock for what again?
What?
And so and I will pick up. Normally, sometimes I'll pick up and we'll talk about various things. But because of that, you have to understand this position and study it and make sure this is exactly what you want to do and that you're in it for the right reason. If you're in it for selfish reason, being an elected official, and I don't like using the word politician, I say public servant. One of my colleagues in another county, she said, I never call myself, and I do the same thing. I never call myself a politician. I'm a public servant, because she said politicians go to jail. And I'm going to leave that right there.
And they deserve it. Um, what's funny is that, Alana, you have a stellar reputation. You are known everywhere as an educator, as a woman that is completely above board. One thing I really, really want to touch on in light of that is discussing with women why it's important how people see you, not
Mm.
just your position, how people see you and the way you represent yourself. Can you touch on that briefly about how important that is for women to be seen in the right light in order to take on these kind of positions?
It's important because of the stigma they have put on women, number one. It's sad. They expect you to be a certain way, a certain look, or have this certain type of image. And also being the first in this position. And when I mean the first, and I'm going to say this, when I say I'm the first African American, it has nothing to do with racism, black, white. It's an honor, and it's an honor because this position hasn't had that representation for so long.
Mhm.
And to say the amount of years it took to get a black female and the amount of years it took to get an African American to even win my district. I'm the first African American to win my district that is predominantly minority. And so to say that it's an honor, it has nothing to do with I'm only going to take care of African Americans in my district and I'm not going to take care of other races. No, it's just an honor. And with that honor comes responsibility.
Mhm.
Being the first of anything is a huge responsibility on your back, because how you represent determines how they're going to treat the person that's coming behind you. And it's really important. I don't want people to see me as a pushover, because I want young women to see strength. I want young women to see that they can roll the punches with the best of them, that they can sit on a board that's not just one female, that's predominantly male. I want
Mhm.
them to see that they do deserve a seat at any table, no matter who's sitting there, no matter who is at that table, no matter if it's still our former President Obama, whether it's the current President Biden or whoever it may be, you still deserve a seat at that table. And
Mhm.
being a woman does not stop you from being there. And so that's why it's so important. And it's heartwarming when I see the women in the community who come to me and say, "Oh my God, Commissioner Sanders, let me take a picture with you," and then I go online and I see the women say, "I finally got a chance to meet her. I finally got my picture with Commissioner Sanders." It's not being like a celebrity. No, it's 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 so heartwarming for me because they see me. They
Mhm.
see me as a person. They see me as a voice. They see me as a person that says, I can be there too. I can do it too. Just like Commissioner Sanders, Alana, I don't want to put commissioner in front, just like Alana Sanders became a commissioner, so and so can become a commissioner too, or become a state representative, or become a congressman, a senator. I can do that, or whatever it is that you want to be. So it's setting that tone and making sure that I do represent well it also sets a positive, I would say, pathway for those coming behind me. Now, going back to when people say, well, sometimes, and it's not everybody, it's only a certain people say, well, sometimes you're a little too harsh, and some people think that you are angry, and no, 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 no. It's not being harsh. Look at what I'm dealing with.
Mhm.
Look at what I have to do to fight for a community. If I just sit there and take it, and if I just sit there and don't speak up for a community, then we won't have the things that we want. We won't have the things that we need. So, being in politics, you're not getting in this position to get, as I stated earlier, to have a best friend.
Mhm.
You're not in this to have, oh, I got a new bestie. Oh, uh, so and so is my new bestie and my new best friend. You're not in this. Yes, you're in this to be cordial and to work together, but you didn't come into this position to have friends. You're in this position to make sure that you are fighting for a community to get what they need to have, and you're a legislator. So making sure that you abide by the laws, and if the laws are changed, that they fit everybody in this community, and if it's not right, that you have a voice to be able to stand up and speak out and say it's not right based on section so and so in the code or the enable legislation or the charter that I've read, and you all have a copy of it too. We are going against that. Or based on this, it is not fair to the community. It looks like it's you're favoring one side. You're not. That's just it. We have to make sure that we have those conversations. It has nothing to do with racism or whatever. And it's kind of like marketing. Will in marketing we could say in marketing, okay, this African American community is spending the most money. This Caucasian community is spending us on this amount of products, or this African American community or this community minority community doesn't have this. As an elected official, you are a part of marketing. You are that piece where you have to do your research and know the statistics and the makeup of your area. You have
Mhm.
to know that this area is lacking this area's status, they're low income. So because they're low income, I might need to go find a grant to provide the resources for this community. Because this community may have a certain amount of income, they may not need this. So you have to know the statistics and the makeup of the people that you're representing in order to effectively to represent them and support them. If you don't know, do your research and don't know that, then how are you a good representation? You have to do your homework.
And I'm constantly trying to, I guess, get that same message across. And I'm so glad that you're saying that. Like, one thing that I definitely want to put out there to people, there's a word that I hate to hear: feel.
Mm,
Feel is irrelevant.
yeah.
It doesn't matter how anyone feels about Commissioner Sanders. The question is, when you get ready to vote again, what did she do? That's what's going to matter. That's what should matter. The popular person should never win. The person who gets results should win.
Person's got the job
And
done.
that's what this is about. And I'm so glad that you are really, really fostering and helping the idea of visibility, not being this woman on the perch, but you could bump into me in sweatpants and a baseball cap at Kroger's and we can
Right.
talk. Or you can see me with my fabulous suit on and your one of your fabulous custom hats like you have on now. And or you could see me on stage at a concert, or you could see me doing a fitness event in the park with the kids. I'm here just like you're here. And that's what I love so much about your platform. You don't make yourself the queen of a county or unapproachable, or you can't call her and ask her questions because she's going to get mad. Commissioner Sanders is not that kind of woman. She's just Alana, and she's there to help you. And everyone that's watching this or everyone that's hearing this, this is a person that I have known for quite some time. And I just believe that everything that you're putting together is going to set an example. There's some girl in the 6th or 7th grade right now that's watching you, that's going to want to be the next Commissioner Sanders. I want to be like Miss Elena. I want to be in that county, and I want to make the school system this. And you engaging the students is going to give them the boldness to become the next version of you. And I think that every woman that's coming into politics, you have to think about who's looking at you as an example of what's possible. And women are not required, contrary to what history has said, to cater to everyone's feelings.
Mm,
It does not matter. how everyone feels. It matters that everyone gets what they need. Because if God provided for us based on our feelings, we will be underwater by now.
Mm,
We are provided what we need.
that's right.
And I'm so glad that you have taken on the responsibility of being a part of this process of healing this county, getting this county, going back to where it is. And, this, you are doing an amazing job. And I'm just so glad. I would love to get some kind of closing remarks from you to kind of see, is there any message you want to put out there, whether it's to your community, to your constituents or whatever, about what's coming next, or, anything that you'd like to say?
It's right now. I'm emotional, and I'm not a crier, so I have like some tears in my eyes listening to you because I'm kind of glad that we had this talk today because sometimes people misunderstand your plight. People misunderstand you. And until you get to know that person, you're like, oh, wow, I pegged them wrong. And I actually had a conversation with someone recently who said, I pegged you wrong. And matter of fact, I was speaking to a gentleman is a different party as who was a Republican. People know I'm a Democrat. And he said, you're not what they told me you were. And I said, what did they tell you I am? He said, that's not you. I was like, well, I'm glad to hear you say that to me because I'm curious to what they're saying, but I'm glad that you came to me and said that because you got to know me. And a lot of times people only see the commissioner, the Alana that's fighting for the community, and they may tune in, but they don't know Alana. They don't know the facets of me. All they see is she's fighting, she's fighting, and that's all they see. So, and I'm glad of that. And people are going to make their own opinion of you. They're going to create their own opinion of you. Whether you believe what they think of you is what matters. You know who you are. You know your job and what you have to do. Um, Opinions are, everybody has one. We know that statement. Everybody has an opinion, but are you doing the job? And I said this in one of the last meetings that we had. I said, some of you may not like me, but one thing you cannot say is that Elena Sanders did not fight like hell for you or didn't go tooth and nail for you. You can never say that. You can never say that I have never been here to fight for you. And so my ending words is something that Deion Sanders said recently. He said, I have a word for y'all. And Deion Sanders, I think he's my cousin somewhere because our personalities kind of match a little bit. But he said, don't allow my confidence to upset your insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because you see me as a confident person, does not mean that I'm arrogant. Because you see me as a person who is fighting for a community, does not mean that I'm angry. Don't let that upset something that may be inside of you. Come ask me and talk to me to find out where she's coming from
Mm-hmm.
because I'm here for you. And one of the things that I wanted to, my last statement was, I said this when I was running. I never wanted to be that elected official that you only saw during campaign season. I wanted to be the
Mm-hmm.
person that you saw in the community throughout my entire term. When you invite me to an event, I'm not invited somewhere else, I'm going to show up. If you invite me here, I'm going to be there. Sometimes you may not invite me and I show up. It's like, wow, I've had people say, I can't believe you came here. Why should I not be here? I'm a neighbor. I live in the community. I'm going to be here regardless. I should be here because this is my community, not just to see me sitting behind a board or behind a desk. That should not be the only time you see me. If I'm representing Newton County and representing a district, you should see me in that district. You should see me in that county. I'm going to be there. So I never wanted to be that political figure that you only saw during campaign season. And so,
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, my last words is if you believe it, and I know it's cliche, you can achieve it. If it's your thought process, the only person that's stopping you from being what you want to be and who you want to be is you.
Absolutely. Now, I love that. And I love that quote by Deion Sanders. I saw that some time ago, and he's right. You know, And I'm so glad that I had an opportunity to catch up with you. If anyone is wanting more information about how to get involved, how to maybe assist, how whether you have some input, you have any comments or anything, you can find Alana Sanders anywhere in the
You
world on the
so
World
silly.
Wide Web. You can just type in Alana Sanders on Google and it comes up. But to reach her directly, go to commissionersanders.com. All of her information is there. You can keep up with recent events. Anything that's going on with her, you can follow her on Twitter at Atlanta District, the number 3, or you can find her on Facebook as Commissioner Alana Sanders. Thank you so much. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you for sharing time with me. And this is a segment that I'm calling Conversations with Important People. And I have Commissioner Alana Sanders for District 3 of Newton County, Georgia. Thank you so much, Alana. And
Thank
we will
you.
definitely talk soon.